we were on the cruise and we were looking at the material list and we don't know if we have what we need. So I have to message the teacher saying, hey, will this work instead of that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's, that's up to you. We left off on English last time. I couldn't even tell you where I think we've done free fall maybe, but
Yeah, we did.
all right. What do you want us to work on today? What would be best to help you?
Let's just do I think we didn't do lesson 14 yet, so we can do that in physical science and then switch to English.
Okay, we do need to finish the English. I should have said something about that. Like it's not complete where we left it. The lesson
Oh, yeah.
12. It's
Yeah,
close.
then
It's
let's do
close, but
English.
it's not quite there. So
One second. I'm so sorry. My dog's
sure.
barking
Yep.
and I don't know why, so
Yeah.
can I go check it out to make
Yeah.
sure he's
Of course. Yeah,
okay?
of course. Of course. Yeah.
Thank
Just
you.
just just take off. Yeah.
All right, I'm back. He was
Okay.
barking at the mailman. Apparently he could hear him. And then
Okay.
he's a little crazy, you know, little crazy guy.
Well, here's where we left off. Here we're basically done. So let's just read through it here. And the essay starts here, so we'll remove some of it. Have you ever had someone tell you they have the coolest dog ever? No? Well, let me tell you about the coolest dog ever. Let me introduce you to my Pomeranian Hermes. He is 2 years old and was 5 months old when my family adopted him from Bulgaria. He's not just any family. He is like my much younger brother, and I treat him the way my older brother used to treat me. It might sound strange at first, but I call my dog Stinky. The thing is that he isn't Stinky, it's just his cute nickname. All right, any changes to make to that?
Nope, that sounds great.
Okay. When you pick up my dog, it is like holding a teddy bear from your childhood. He's super fluffy the way a blanket feels on a cold night. His fur around his face looks like a lion's mane. In the summer, the fur around his body is super short since we don't want him to be overheated in the Arizona heat, but the fur around his face stays the same, so it makes him look even more like a tiny lion. His other distinguishing feature is that he has a fox-like face, big brown eyes, a pointy snout, and small pointy ears. His fur is ginger like pumpkin pie that has been freshly made by my mom. The color is rich and beautiful. Family loves the dog so much that he gets a brushing every day and is taken to the groomers once a month for much needed pampering, the way I feel when I get a pedicure. Any changes to that?
Nope.
All right. Being around Hermes for any length of time is like visiting a Chinese buffet, having having a variety of smells. His fur smells like perfume, which reminds me of my aunt who lives in Bulgaria because when we visit her and my grandma in the summer, her clothes smell very strongly of perfume, and every time she hugs him, the perfume rubs into his fur. His paws smell like Cheetos and orange puffed ball type chips. I guess cheesy and tastes really good with an orange color. Think of an orange peel. The fur near his nose smells like a wet dog, which reminds me of being out in the rain and how the grass, trees, and ground smell, but it's not all pleasant. My dog's breath is very stinky and disgusting. It smells like tuna when I'm sorry, it smells like tuna. When I'm in my room watching videos on my computer, he always comes in, jumps on my bed, and walks to me. He either
I
yawns
literally did
super
that
close.
today.
Yeah, that's the best way when it's true. It's exactly what it is. He either yawns super close to my face, or he's pumping because he was either in the front yard or just got back from a walk. All right. Okay. So we'd like to have like kind of a closing sentence here. Um, Something that transitions to the next one. Uh, uh, we're talking about smells. So like what's the maybe we could say something about how he's called stinky here. Um, Maybe you could add a sentence here that says something like, you know, we call him stinky and sometimes he is stinky.
Yeah, we should add that.
You need something here to kind of close this paragraph out,
I mean,
would be
he
my
had a bath yesterday.
well, you could
It,
make a joke about it just being his breath, being stinky.
okay. So like,
So I'm trying to not I can't write it for you, but I'm suggesting something about stinky, talk about how, you could start to see why we call him stinky because sometimes his breath is a
hmm,
little stinky, but it's not always that way. I mean, you could just something about stinky, I think would be good to throw in here it's also a reminder of what you were talking about earlier in the lesson.
all right. Can I say sometimes when we bring him back from a walk and it's like and it was raining outside, he smells really stinky? Can I say that or no?
We're not we've already kind of talked about his stinkiness and his like the smells. We're just trying to close it out. We're not trying to add any new information here.
Okay.
We're just kind of reiterating that, it's like a joke. It's like now you can see why we call him stinky, but he's not always stinky. He's just
Okay. Got it now. So, I just used what your words, like what you said, and I just typed them down,
okay.
basically.
But is that really what you want to say?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. All right. So now we move on to and what we were missing here was like an introductory sentence about um uh where we sort of like close out and say, and so it's bad to say things like in conclusion. You really want to sort of dress it up a little bit more. Um, and I was sort of suggesting here that talking about like getting to the end of the day, something about like, when somehow like e- explaining that, um, like kind of maybe like you do, or, you could also ask a question, how does it feel when you take a nap or something about sleeping here? Because we talk a lot about sound and barking and things like that. But um,
Oh, can I mention that when he takes a nap, sometimes he goes into my dad's room and joins him when he naps.
like you can we don't need like we don't need to add more information. There's only supposed to be 400 words, and I mean we're at way more than that. So um like it's great, but we don't want to like overdo it with information here. Um So like what the issue here is that it's very abrupt. My dog sleeps like a cat. He curls up into a ball. Sometimes he sleeps on his back, and it's really funny because his paws are in the air and he is showing off his fluffy fur on his stomach. That's a great sentence. It's just it can't be the first sentence. We kind of need to introduce the sounds. Like, could you write one sentence here about sounds? Like what's the overall message that you want to present about sounds? It is essentially your topic sentence.
Um, when he goes to sleep, like the moment he's like fully asleep, he does a big old sigh.
Okay, so maybe relate that sigh to something that people can, like, have you ever seen someone after Thanksgiving or a big meal and they sort of yawn and then they pass out or
Yeah,
something? That's kind of, we're trying to create an image of that here.
gotcha. Does this work?
I feel like I'm just telling you what to write, which I don't want to do. And like these are just sort of ideas, so don't feel like you have to use them. Um,
Yeah, but like the Thanksgiving one makes sense for this one, like for my dog and stuff.
these are all very cliche though, like and hopefully your teacher will just take it and not, you know, but these are, I mean, you don't want to write this way in real life. These are just expectations that people have when they read things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the last sort of thing here to add in is like it's kind of like a closing remark. It's where you sort of identify the best things about Hermes.
The best things about Hermes? Ooh, okay.
So it's sort of like it's a conclusion kind of. It's more just like it's almost you're almost like you almost are like telling them like now do you believe that I have the coolest dog ever? You know, kind of like you're not even asking, but saying like, and now you know why I have the coolest dog ever.
Okay.
Something
So
like
like
that. It one sentence. Go ahead.
can I say like well we already mentioned some cool things, so I just have to say now you know why my dog is like the coolest dog ever? Or do I have to put some more like I don't know.
Well, what we're trying to do here is basically reiterate that you do have the coolest dog ever.
Okay, so like can I just type saying now do you believe that I have the coolest dog ever?
Well, you're just telling them. You don't have to. You don't have to. Um, I don't want to say this. Like you're just gonna tell them. You're not gonna ask them. You're just like, yep, I. And now you know. It's almost like you're asserting that you have the coolest dog ever.
So I can just only right now, you know, I have the best I'm not the best, I'm sorry, the coolest dog ever. I don't have to put anything else like
Well, it's just
no.
whatever you want to say. Like you're sort of
Okay.
it's your like one sentence final remark. You're like, yep, here's if you want to say add in a few things.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna add some stuff, but I didn't know if I could.
Yeah, yeah, sure, why not?
Here's what I wrote. I think it's good.
All right, yeah. That is that would do. That will do. Okay. All right. And so that's, we don't need any of this other stuff. Like we can get rid of that. We can get rid of this initial sort of starter stuff here. And you can see you got 630-ish words, 627. So that's perfect. All right. Good
Yay.
job. Good job.
We're on fire.
Yeah. You did
This
really
is
well
not the
there.
first time I've used my dog in a project. Last year, there was a project with how we had to use a fictional character for a presidential campaign, like we had to make one, but I didn't read it properly and I assumed you could use anyone. So I did my dog. And the teacher was like, I'll give you partial credit, but if you still want full credit, you gotta redo it. And I redid it, but he still liked it, so it's fine. He's
Excellent.
like, if it wasn't fictional, I would have given you an A plus.
Well, that's where you got to go. You got to go and do what
Yeah,
what
it's okay.
all right. All right. So where do you want to move from here?
Um, let's just do another English lesson, I guess.
All right.
I don't know, today I just feel like very English.
That's good. Let's take a look. All right. Let's go back and look. And okay, so your English 11, share screen. Yeah. So we have reading strategies and comprehension. Let's take a look at this before we know. Reread. All right, so they're giving you some steps here about how to do a reading assignment. Uh, they're saying like before you read something, you should maybe have some prior knowledge of it. You might even know what you're doing. Then they're like, okay, skim scan. Um, you know, when you're reading through it, stop and pause if you're not sure what you're reading, and you're supposed to like annotate as you go. Um, so that's something to consider here. Um, how do you feel when you read things that you don't understand? Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah. A book
What
I'm
what
reading right now, I I've read it like I'm almost done with it, but there are some parts I don't understand, maybe because it's also a little bit based on real life events, so I don't understand it still. But it's just kind of confusing.
okay.
That's what you were asking, right?
Yeah, and like and if you don't understand, well, what strategies do you employ when you don't understand something?
Well,
That would be
I would go on YouTube and watch people giving us summaries about the book, or maybe they're actually reading chapters of the book and I'll follow along with them. I'll search online for summaries, or I'll just have to reread the pages again. I don't know. I think those are good strategies.
um I would agree. Um, do you ever ask people questions about, what you're reading? Like if someone else who mightn't be familiar with it.
Yeah, I think my teacher will be familiar with it.
Okay. All right. So they're telling you here, if you don't know the words, you should look them up, maybe reread it, here's a link and so on, things like that. So then they give you a 7-step process for writing summary. So maybe take a look at this, read through this, see if you have any questions on this before we proceed here.
I don't have any questions. I think we can keep going. Yeah.
Right. Let's take a look here. So um, let's see. This lesson is in 3 parts. Find an online news article that you would like to read, but don't just read it yet. All right. So uh, let me. This is not political. This is just a very easy way to find what they're asking for here. So here is a website. I'm not sure if you've ever been to it. I don't know why you would have been, but it does kind of what they're asking you to do here, which is they're asking you to pick an article, but not to read it. Okay. So the give me just a moment, please. I'll be right back with you.
Okay.
Right. So if you're looking at this page here, um, the sometimes you just see something like Minnesota school bans cell phones and students are happy. I mean, like you might think, oh, that'll be an interesting read, right? Or you might have an
Yeah.
idea of what it's about. So that's what they're asking you is to find an article, but don't read it yet. And then we're going to answer these questions for each article, for one article. So you don't have to use the website I gave you. You can see that there's hundreds of articles there. You can also go down. They all have a lot of other websites. I mean, you know about the usual ones. They're on here, CNN, BBC, ABC. I mean, they're all here. But you got to pick something that you want us to work through. So let me know when you pick an article, um, and I'll and drop a link to it in the chat.
Okay, thank you. This is a very interesting link. Okay, so I opened the link, so now what do they want me to do?
I want you, you've got to pick an article. That's what I'm asking. Pick an article, something you want us to read, but don't read it yet.
Um, the guy with the cowboy, the guy
You've
with the
got to
cowboy hat.
send me the link in the chat when you choose whatever you choose.
Okay. Guy with the- Okay, here's the link that I chose.
Okay, so you are doing that. You are doing that one there. All right, that's fine. So let's go back to, so the first thing that the instructor wants you to do is to figure out the source. Okay. So the source for the article is is the newspaper publication. So when you click on the link to the article, um, it's it's kind of in the website there too. It's American Classroom.
Uh-huh. Okay, American
So
Classroom.
so we're just gonna go with that. We should provide a link to it. All right. So now the web address, that's the URL you just sent me. Um, and I need you to figure out the title and the author. You just copy and paste those into the chat, please.
Okay. It says that this is by like Joel Newsman.
Okay, can you copy that into the chat, please?
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
And what about the title?
The title is Difference is Night and Day.
Um, that's not the title.
Oh,
That's a subtitle.
oh, sorry. There it is. This is it. Good, there we go.
Okay. So now I want you to look really hard at that picture and
That's an
you need,
iPhone.
yeah, and describe it. So this is a good opportunity to give as much detail as possible, okay, about what you're seeing. So um, I'm going to ask you to do, uh, you know, 5 sentences roughly about what you're seeing.
You want 5 sentences, right?
Yeah, and if you're struggling with like what to write about. I can give you some ideas about where to go.
I can make these sentences really short, right?
We want to be descriptive. That's what we learned in the last um, you know, writing assignment. So let's try to be a little bit more in that light. We're going to be descriptive here.
Okay. Um, so I've only written three sentences, but this is what have so far. Can't think of like two other sentences.
So you're only focusing on the iPhone. What else is in the picture? Like you a little bit, you get a little bit of that at the end there. What else is in the
I
picture?
assume I guess the iPhone's at like the forest or something, maybe.
You've got to make up your mind about what you think is going on there. There's not like a right or a wrong, but there is an intent. Like they're trying to get you to see it a certain way.
I'm not seeing it the way they want me to see it.
Okay. Um,
Maybe I'm blind, I don't know.
you got to give me a little more effort here. Like this is not like a science thing where you need the formula. You just have to like say what you're seeing, and there's more than an iPhone there. Like there's a very clear distinction being made between two things in that picture.
There
Like
is
they
an
would.
iPhone and there's a forest.
Okay, so give me more about what that you know what you're what you're seeing there.
So I wrote so far that the iPhone is in the forest and is surrounded by lots of leaves. I don't know what else to write, like trees. I don't know.
Okay, so there's a contrast. Like what does the forest represent
The
when you think of a
outside world,
okay, nature? And what does an iPhone represent? Sort of a broad category.
technology.
Okay, so why do you think the
Technology
why do you
meets
think the
nature.
author yes, and what 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 does that mean? Like give us some idea of what you think that means.
Okay, what about this?
Well, no, they're trying to yeah, no, this they're trying to the idea is that in nature there is no technology.
Oh, well, I'm not good at that kind of stuff.
Like they're trying to show you like, hey, we're too tied in with technology.
Hmm. That
So,
makes
I mean,
sense.
yeah, I mean, like they're trying to make it's a contrast. It's a stark contrast between the two. Um, and yeah, it has a black case. I mean, so you should be more specific here. It's not just an iPhone. It's like it's I mean it's a I don't know. It's at least a 12 or 13. I don't know. It's a Pro Max maybe. It's like they didn't just pick a generic iPhone. They definitely picked the nicest one. And it's a pretty nice nature setting. So they're trying to really like you could go in a little bit more about what like they didn't just choose any iPhone. They chose the biggest, most advanced one. And then we're trying to add some words in here about that. Um, what it means. Like what does it mean to be in nature? Um, there's this trend now in a lot of college classes where they want you to actually spend a week without your phone and document like how you feel. Spend a week without watching TV, document how you
I'm
feel, and so on.
I haven't watched TV in a while, but when I went to that Camp Fox I told you that, it was
Mm,
really nice. I interacted with new people. There was a lot of activity, so it was a good time.
yeah, and that's the idea here is can you get away from nature? Um, and that's what they're sort of implying here.
Uh-huh.
So that's for you to sort of investigate. Um, but yeah. All right, we're gonna stop there for today. Or not for now. We'll reset in about 10 minutes and we'll just keep going. So I will see you shortly.
See you shortly.
Okay, bye.